Hey, so I wanted to come and share something that I experienced that gave me like a bit of a glimpse into something, which was helpful. And basically anything that's helpful right now is really welcome. So I'd been wrestling for some time with a very, very basic question. I am still wrestling with it, it's not over. And that basic question is, how can people believe something that is so different than what I believe? How is it possible that the things that I believe feel so incredibly true to me, and that, like, to somebody else, there's a whole completely different reality? And in answer to that, or at least in possibility of an answer to that, I had an experience where two things happened in the same day. The first thing that happened was that I went for a driving lesson in a parking lot. So I'm 45. I never learned to drive. And a big part of that has to do with the fact that I'm terrified of cars. Terrified. Like even being inside of them. And this is because of past trauma, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Point blank. I'm scared of cars. So I'm in a parking lot with no other humans, no other cars, nothing going on, and I'm like driving 5 miles an hour, and I could feel the terror inside of my body. Like I could feel the response and the action of fear. And it took me some time to unwind from that 5 mile an hour parking lot drive, which to most human beings would be as benign of an experience as could be. And that night I went out for a walk, as I often do, in the woods. And because the time has been shifting and it gets darker earlier, I wasn't really calculating properly. And I ended up walking out into my walk. And by the time I was out, it was pitch black. And then I had to walk back in the woods in the dark. Not such a big deal for me. So I'm walking, and in North America, we have animals. Like, we don't have just birds in the forest, we have other stuff. And as I'm coming back, I look into a tree where I'm passing, and there's a bear. And the bear sees me, and I see the bear, and the bear jumps down and he starts to run away, and I can tell that he's really afraid. And it was this kind of exuberant moment, and I kind of just quickened my pace a little bit, and then kind of went on my merry way. And the feeling, the residue that this left in me was like, yoo! Like, it was like exciting to see the bear, and it was fun. Now, most people, if they were given the choice between what is a frightening experience, driving 5 miles an hour in an empty parking lot, or seeing a bear in the woods an hour from your house in the dark, this one might be. But because of a belief that I have about cars being dangerous, and because of a belief that I have about nature being safe, those experiences flipped for me. Why am I sharing this? Because it was really helpful for me to see that, like, wow, because of what I've lived through, this thing that makes no sense to other people's nervous systems, because I'm talking about a physiological response. I'm not talking about only a mental concept. And we're in this crazy moment right now where our safety is being threatened in really real ways for many people. There are wildfires, there's a pandemic, there is possibly an infringement of our freedom. And people are in already a heightened nervous system response, which means we're walking around, all of us, triggered. We're walking around as if there is real danger, because there is. And so what I realized, because I saw that when I got home from my amazing driving experience, I had to, like, deal with my response. I had to deal with my nervous system. I had to calm down. And what I'm seeing, right, because life is mostly on the internet these days, what I'm seeing is there are wars because of belief systems. Because now more than ever, someone else believing something different seems to threaten my safety. it seems to pose a great survival conversation rather than just like, your sports team's like this and my sports team like that, which also has exaggerated responses. But I was thinking that the best thing, because I'm also seeing it every time I get on social media, I get so overwhelmed, that the best thing that we can do for humanity right now is to regulate our own nervous systems, is to find out how to go from an acceleration into a state of calm again, because for each person it's different. And so one of the things that I just wanted to share was like, if you know what centers you, if you know what calms you down, if you know what stabilizes you, are you doing it? A lot of us know what we love. We know what brings us joy. We know what brings us calm, which gives us peace, which brings space, and we just don't do it. Instead, we scroll on the phone and we watch Netflix. And those things do serve a purpose because they kind of numb out a strong activation, but they're not necessarily doing it in the healthiest way. And so my challenge or my question is, what do you do when you notice that your nervous system is in acceleration? To calm down. What do you do when you notice that you're becoming hopeless and full of despair? To bring yourself some joy, to allow that energy to enter in. So it could be something like petting your cat. This is a big one for me. Or going for a walk in nature, even when there's bears. Not going for a drive, in my case, right? But we all have the things. For some people, going for a drive is really calming. So this is just my little friendly reminder. Do things you love. And when you feel activated and triggered and like someone else's belief system is threatening your life, see if you can pull back before you respond and engage and accelerate this polarized view. And look at your own weird belief systems and go like, all right, I see how someone could believe something that I totally don't. And see what you can do to allow your nervous system to regulate and return to a place where your breath is even and your mind is calm. If all of us did that a little bit, we would get through this insane time a little bit easier. Okay. Thanks for listening. If you have the energy, I'd love to hear what are the things that trigger you and what are the things that bring the acceleration down. What are the things that calm you every time? Every one of us has something. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's playing an instrument, maybe it's listening to music, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's petting an animal, maybe it's connecting to a friend. What is it for you?